Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, do know that we post exciting new content every week. So subscribe to our channel, the link of which is given below in the description. So coming to part 2 of this most frequently asked questions, we are going to proceed to question number 6.
Hi guys, let's get back to the question. What do you think, Appi? Are previous year questions important? If so, should I do these MCQs?
Alright, previous year questions are very important. Definitely you must and should do these MCQs. There is no going to the exam hall without practicing these MCQs. Now basically whichever offline or online platform you use in order to do subject wise MCQs, they will incorporate previous year questions in that particular module. There only you will be exposed to this. Now there are separate modules where given out by numerous platforms where they give out previous year questions. You must and should practice this, and this must be practiced whenever you get free time. Meaning you get free time after a grand test, you can do previous year questions. You are just feeling lazy today not to do a subject or something, do previous year questions. Now particular question may not repeat, but the concept definitely repeats in your final exam. And these are free giveaways. Meaning this particular question did appear in past say 2 year or 3 year paper, and you see the similar question, you already know the concept, immediately you mark it, you solve the MCQ within 15 seconds or even less and go to the next question. This saves time in your final exam. Previous year questions are a must. The number of repeats in INI CET are much higher than in NEET PG, the amount of previous year questions, and the concepts definitely do repeat. So you cannot miss out on this. And it's not a bad idea. In fact, I would encourage students that you practice previous year questions just before the exam also. Meaning your final exam 2 weeks before or even 1 week before, along with the highly memory based subjects, you incorporate a small bit of previous year questions. This definitely boosts your rank. Alright, puppy. What do you believe?
Uh, so, guys, I totally agree with what he is saying, but I would just like to sort it out. I divided the previous year questions for NEET PG and for INI CET because they are totally different set of questions, right? So, coming to INI CET, what I did was when I was reading each subject, I finished one round of previous year questions along with the subject. After that, during my revision, that is the last 3 months, I gave the paper in totality, right? After that, even just one day before exam, I felt it was one of the mistakes I made when I got a rank of 120. I didn't go through my previous year questions for INI CET one day before exam. When I got rank 1, I did it. Like one day before exam, along with the memory based stuff, I went through the previous year questions, like all of them, at least 10 papers, that is 5 years, one day before the exam. So, for INI CET, why is previous year questions so important is there'll be minimum 50% to 60% of the paper which will include previous year questions. What I mean to say is around 30 to 40% of these questions will be exact repeats. Like you'll get the same words, same sentences with the same options. You just have to look at the question, go for the answer. So you are going to save a lot of time on this, and your question along with the answer should be at your fingertips for this set of questions, right? And other 20% of these questions, like in the 60%, will be repeats from the same concept. Or sometimes what I've observed when I was giving my rank 1 paper was they gave 90% of the question had same words as the previous year questions. There was just one word or one option which was different, or one word which was different. Like before, if it was like what is the most common, now it was like what was not the most common. So it was very minute mistakes which usually people tend to miss, because the minute we look at the question we'll be like, this is a previous year repeat. So without even reading the question completely or paying any attention, we would go ahead and mark the options. And I think this was a major difference which happened between rank of 120 to rank 1, that I was able to figure out these type of questions in my exam. So 60% would be repeats, 40% would be exact, around 20% would have minor changes either in the concept or either in the question or in the options. Be careful about this 20 questions, because this is the region where most of us tend to lose marks. And even I never understood when I got a rank of 120 that there was these 20% of the questions which are repeats but with minute variations. So I think you guys should pay attention to this part of it. Now moving forwards to NEET PG. NEET PG was a paper because when we were giving, we were one of the first batches to give a different type of a paper, and the concepts were absolutely repeating. They have very few set of concepts in each subject which they keep repeating over and over again, and a new concept in a new PG is very less likely. But coming to the exact question with the exact wordings, they are slightly less. In NEET PG, I have not seen like more than 20 questions which would have, you know, the exact words with the exact question. That is not going to happen. Every time the question and the wordings and the options are going to change for sure, but they stick on to the concepts. The same concept, you apply the same logic, you come back to the same answer, but yeah, the wordings won't be same. So just pay attention to this. But in both the cases, whether you're preparing for NEET PG or you're preparing for INI CET, doesn't matter. Previous year questions are a must and should, and according to me, they have to be done one day before exam. I'm not saying the whole of one day before exam, just do previous year. At least half of the day you should keep for previous year questions.
Alright, coming now to the next question. Alright, what strategy did you use for revision in the last 2 to 3 months?
Yeah, so coming to this, I think everyone will have a different strategy. But as a general rule, when I'm supposed to speak, for the last 3 months, what I have done, I'll tell you guys, that I divided it into 2 months and 1 month. In the first 2 months, we are talking about the last 3 months. So the first 2 months, what I did was, we had 19 subjects. That is, I would consider it as 20 because it's easy for the calculation and math. So I knew that each subject I could get, if it's a major subject, 3 days. If it's a minor subject, 1 day or a 1.5 day. And there would be some big subjects like surgery, medicine, obs, gynae, which would take even 4 days. Go ahead. If a subject is taking 1 day extra, yes, I would use it in a major subject, and I would cut short it and some of the minor subjects. Like, I have not concentrated much on dermat because it was very memory based questions which used to come repeatedly. So there were some minor subjects, which we'll talk about minor subjects later, how to cut short on it. Coming to the division, yes, 2 months, 3 to 4 days for a major subject, 1 day for a minor subject. And in 2 months, I would keep the last 5 days as blank, because you don't know, right? Like, some subjects maybe you might not be confident, you would have completely forgotten. So 5 days, just keep it as a blank. And through this process, always keep giving GTs. Like, you finish one major subject, give a GT that day. You finish the second subject, give a GT that day. So GTs should be constant in this. Just because you're revising, do not compromise on GTs. And second thing during revision is, many people tend to do new stuff. They'll be like, I saw a question in this GT which was not in my notes, so they start reading that source. So don't be underconfident on what you have done. If you've wasted 6 months onto making your own notes or making and understanding some subject without your notes, you have a printed notes, whatever it is, concentrate on that. Do not, go into this cycle of FOMO that I've not done this, so let me read that. It's not going to fetch you marks. At the end of the day, what fetches you marks is, are you able to remember the concepts? They are not going to ask you very hi-fi stuff or very out of the box memory based questions. They're not going to ask. Even if they're asking such questions, max 2 to 3, it's not going to increase your rank or the score. So whatever you have read in past 6 months, revise only that. You should go to an exam with a rule saying, whatever I've read in past 6 months, I'm going to use only that much amount of knowledge to crack my rank. Whatever is out of my preparation in the last 6 months, if it is coming, I'm going to give up that question. That shouldn't decide your rank. but whatever you've read, you should not make any mistakes in it. That is more than sufficient to crack a rank. What do you think?
Alright, I also followed a similar strategy that I jotted down how much days does it take to finish this particular subject. For short subject, usually it used to last for 1 day to 1.5, sometimes 2, and for long subjects, sometimes 2, 3, and maybe 4 or 5. So that revision strategy differs from person to person and your confidence in that particular subject. So do make an individual timetable where you want to revise and incorporate grand tests also in that. Meaning set a time after 5 subjects of revision, this is my grand test, or weekly grand test as you may say. Keep Sunday off, give a grand test that day, finish off reviewing it also, and enjoy rest of the day as relaxation. Also, keep a separate day for previous year questions. Those are very, very important as we stated in the previous question also. And very important point at this venture is you do not lose focus, because revision is the key. The more the number of revisions, say many a times NEET PG does get postponed. So you can incorporate more and more revisions. The more the revisions you do, the more it is inbuilt in your memory. The faster you solve the question, the more time you get to solve the difficult questions. So do not waver in your concentration. Just move ahead. If you are able to do one revision, that's good. When I got a rank of All India rank 14, I had just done one revision. I did not attempt the second revision because I did not have time. That time it was preponed. So do not waver. Be steady. Keep doing revisions. If you get more time, okay, this is time to do one more revision. Do not get disheartened. Just do revisions, give grand test. Give revisions, give grand test. So revision is the key over here. The more you revise, the more you get better score, and the chances of you getting a very, very good rank increases dramatically with revision. Plan accordingly.
I forgot to tell you guys what I did in the last month. See, basically, what I did in the last month was I separated out the 19 subjects as a conceptual subject and a memory based subject. For example, in the first year, anatomy I know was a memory based for many of them. For me, it was conceptual. So I put it in conceptual. Physiology is purely conceptual. Biochem is purely memory based. So, first, separate out your subjects, which is memory based, which is conceptual. So in the first 1 month, what I would do was I would leave the last week out. Last week is just for revising a highly memory based part that I'll explain what to do in the last week. 1 month before, what I did was, after separating it out, I started with the conceptual subjects and I started with final year subjects, because you tend to remember final year more because you have read more even during your UG days, right? So that is engraved in your head. It doesn't require too much of your revision, except few some stagings in surgery or something which is highly memory based. Separate that out. Like if you're taking surgery, I think medicine there was nothing too much to remember. Obs gynae, okay, there is not much to remember, but yeah, few concepts here and there. So I would start off with something like medicine, obs gynae. Then surgery, I would just mark with a different pen whichever I want to revise in the last 1 day, like the TNM stagings or the treatment for each staging. In my notes, there would be around 20 to 30 pages which were memory based, and I would fold them or I would mark them with a different pen to look at it in the last 1 week. So I would finish off these major subjects which were conceptual. Once I was done with the conceptual in around 10 to 12 days, the last 10 days I would keep them for memory based subjects, like it could be biochem, anat, pharmac, microbiology. So all this memory based subjects I would do in the second half, because the later you do, you would tend to remember better. So coming to the strategy for the last 1 week, what I used to do was I would take a day or two to revise just the memory parts in medicine, surgery and OBG. After I'm done with it in 1 to 2 days in the last 1 week, then I would look back on my memory based subjects, because how many ever times you look at the memory based subjects, if you're not revised in the last 1 week, it's not going to come back to you in the exam, guys. It's very difficult. And coming to the mnemonics, there are few set of people I've seen who are very good with mnemonics. They make great mnemonics and they do remember. But I was one person, I couldn't remember mnemonics, because when I got a rank of 120, I remembered that I forgot. I knew the mnemonic, I didn't know what was in the mnemonic. So I was a person who would not prefer mnemonics. So I didn't make any mnemonics. I would just look at those memory based stuff 1 to 2 days before the exam. And last day before the exam, I already told you guys, morning I would just continue with my revision, whatever was left about the memory based stuff. And that evening, I would look at the previous year questions, and the D day just comes.
Alright.
Coming to our next question, many people DM me about this also, that how many hours in a day should I study to get a decent rank?
Alright. To answer this, it depends on which stage you are in. If you are in internship, how much ever time you are getting, you have to study in that. There is no other go. Because internship is very hectic, especially in a government college, and whatever free time you are getting, read in that. Try to gain as much knowledge as possible, solve as many MCQs as possible, and go attempt your exam. But if you are not in internship, if you have taken a year off, meaning purely for studying, I would suggest that daily you put in at least 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours daily, unless you are completely fatigued that day and you cannot proceed. Bad days do come. They are, in fact, in the starting of preparation, they come very frequently. And it's important to realize that today is a bad day, okay, but I will still proceed forward. I will push through this and I'll make sure that something comes. And make sure that you learn something new every day when you are reading for the first time. Okay, add something extra to the notes that is important, that is repeated in the previous year questions. If you are taking that day completely off, meaning you have studied that whole week, 8 to 10 hours in a week, and that particular day, that Saturday or Sunday, you have taken complete off, do not worry much. Just relax, regenerate, watch a movie, enjoy time with your family, or go on a walk, enjoy with your friends. Do not think anything else during that one day, so that you are completely fresh the next day to stick back to your books and make sure you study daily. So what I mean to say is, it depends on person to person, but if you have taken a year off just for preparation, it means that you need to make time count, meaning every second counts. Put in the hard work, definitely you will get the reward. So what do you think?
I agree to what he's saying. I've seen a variety of people during NEET PG preparation or an INI CET preparation. What I observed was people were able to crack ranks with just 3 to 4 hours of preparation, and some people were able to crack ranks with 10 to 12 hours of preparation. Some people I've seen who would put in around 15 to 16 hours of preparation, and still people would fail to crack. So then I just looked at it, ki, what was this? Like, how is it possible that someone is just reading for 4 hours and then he's able to crack it, and someone is reading for 16 hours, 15 hours, and he's not able to crack it? So what was it? Then when I just looked at it or spoke to people around, I realized that everyone had their own comfort zone. Meaning to say, a person who was reading like for 4 to 6 hours a day, his comfort zone was just 1 to 2 hours a day. During his UG preparation, basically he used to read for 1 to 2 hours a day, and he would be able to remember everything like a magic. So for him, the 4 to 6 hours was out of his comfort zone. He would feel that, dude, I have done wonders. I have done 6 hours a day when my normal day reading time was just 2 hours. So what I'm telling you guys is, know your comfort zone. What was the normal number of hours you would read to pass your UG exams, or whatever it is, any exam for that matter? What you have to do here is, you need to come out of your comfort zone. Unless you're feeling that I am out of my comfort zone, I am putting my extra effort, that I've never done this in my life, sitting for these many hours, you're not going to crack it. It's not possible that until you come out of your comfort zone and put in those extra number of hours than your usual hours, it is not possible, guys. It's all 19 subjects which you need to know with great expertise to answer those questions, because the level of papers are increasing year by year, and the quality of the paper is increasing, the competition is increasing. Yes, So know your comfort zone, come out of the comfort zone. The day you feel that yes, I'm out of my comfort zone, I'm putting those extra hours, I'm putting those extra minutes, yes, you guys have arrived, you will get a decent rank, the branch which you are desiring for. So we'll go on to the next question now.
Alright, Poppy. How to conquer short subjects?
So this was also again one of the question which many people DM'd me about, that ma'am, I'm actually wasting too many number of days on short subjects. There's too much information about short subjects. Was it useful on the real exam day? What do you think about it? Guys, to be very frank, look at a short subject like a short subject. So what do I mean is, I feel personally that it is very illogical to waste, 10 days or whatever, like, more than a week's time for a short subject, because it's not gonna convert into marks, guys. Look at it. Like, I felt when I was decoding the paper that short subjects are made to score. Meaning to say, if for example there are 10 to 11 questions in a short subject, there would be 6 questions which, even with basic preparation or sometimes even without any preparation, with your UG knowledge, you would be able to answer those 6 questions. So this is common among everyone. There'll be around 3 questions which, even if you read, even if you do MD in that short subject, you're not going to be able to answer it, because it's difficult, guys. The paper is set in such a way that few questions are really difficult, and in short subjects they tend to come. You cannot master a short subject like an MD in that short subject. It's not possible, right? So 3 questions you'll not be able to answer, I mean. So basically you're reading that short subjects for 2 questions. What I did was, if I liked the short subject, I liked radio, so I read a bit more in detail to answer those 2 questions. For example, I didn't like some subjects like ortho, right? So for orthopedics, I didn't waste time. I just read a basic notes for just 1 to 2 days, and I did some rapid revision videos, and I gave it. And there was just a difference of 1 question between me and a person who has wasted 10 days in orthopedics. And I think that much you can take it. You're wasting those 10 days into your strong subjects, and you're mastering your concepts better, you're making less number of silly mistakes, or you're giving GTs in that time. I think that is going to fetch more marks than wasting too much time on a short subject. What do you think?
Okay, I do agree that subjects are scoring. Now, important thing is, the way I prepared this was, I used to do short subjects after doing the previous years. First do the previous year, know where they are asking frequently, and read those topics. Now you can't master a short subject like a long subject, because it takes too much of your time. You have to be careful that time is judicious right now. So all you have to do is see the previous year questions, see where the concepts are being asked, master those particular concepts, and answer the max to your ability. Because you cannot put too much effort in short subjects, because you will be losing out on the major chunk. Short subjects, mind you, in INI CET they do come, and number of repeats there are very high. So if you are able to crack the previous years, your goal in short subjects is done. It won't differentiate much. So be careful. Short subjects, do not end up reading it like a long subject and prolonging it for weeks together. Know where to stop. Previous years will give you a good idea, and master that particular concept, and you will be done for that particular subject. So here we take a pause. So this is it for part number 2. Stay tuned for part number 3.
We will be covering few very important questions in part number 3, as to how many questions to answer in the D-Day exam. That is a very important question, guys. Stay tuned for part 3.